Hi students, this section is 4.3 Quick Graphs using Intercepts. So in this section we're going to be working with the x-intercept and the y-intercept. And what the x-intercept is the coordinate of a point where the graph crosses the x-axis. And the y-intercept is the coordinate of a point where the graph crosses the y-axis. So here I have an example. In this example, the x-intercept is at -1, 0. So that's where the graph crosses the x-axis. And then your y-intercept is going to be at the point 0, 1 because that's where it crosses the y-axis. So where the graph crosses that x and y-axis, what I just mentioned, those 2 points create a linear graph, and we're going to be finding those x and y intercepts and then working with graphing this. So first example with finding our intercepts, it says when finding the x-intercept and y-intercept, you're going to be plugging in 0 for x or y to find the intercept they're looking for. So for instance, if we're looking for our x-intercept first, we're going to be, so this question is saying, I should say this, that they want us to find the x-intercept and y-intercept of 2x plus 3y equals 6. So if I'm finding the x-intercept first, what you're doing, what this says here, is you're going to be plugging in 0 for x or y to solve the other. So to find my x-intercept first, I'm going to plug in 0 for y. So if you look at this, we have 2 times x plus 3 times y. We're going to plug in 0 for y because we want to find the value of x. So we're going to leave that, and that's going to equal 6. Well, 3 times 0 is just 0. So we have here 2x equals 6. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And we can solve for x here by getting x equals 3. So my x-intercept, where my graph crosses the x-axis, is at 3. So x equals 3, but my final answer is going to be written as 3, 0. The next part of this, so there are 2 parts of this, is we want to find the y-intercept. So we have here 2x. Now we're finding y, so we're actually going to be plugging in 0 for x plus 3y, and that's going to equal 6. So here we're solving for y. So 2 times 0 is just 0. So what we have here is 3y equals 6. Divide 3 to both sides. So y is going to equal the value of 2. So what that means now on your coordinate plane, the graph is also going to cross the y-axis at the point 0, 2, or at y equals 2. So my final answer for this would be 0, 2. And that is my answer for this example. Similarly, we are going to be finding the intercepts here now, but we're also going to be graphing once we find our intercepts. So it says graph the following equation based on finding the x and y intercepts. Here's my equation. We have x plus 3y equals 5. So let's find my x-intercept first. Doesn't matter if you find your x or your y first. So if I'm finding my x-intercept first, I'm going to plug in 0 for y. So that's x plus 3 times 0 equals 5. 3 times 0, 0. So x is going to equal 5. So that would be 5, 0. For my y-intercept, we're now going to plug in x for 0 to find my y. So it's going to be 0 plus 3y equals 5. So I'm going to write this as 3y equals 5. I'm going to divide 3 to both sides. So y is going to equal 5/3. So if y equals 5/3, when we're graphing this, it's going to be helpful if you want to put this in decimal form. So it would be 1.6 repeating in decimal form. So my y-intercept is going to be 0, 1.6 repeating. So now Now that I have my x-intercept and I have my y-intercept, I can graph these 2 points. So 5, 0, if I'm looking at my coordinate plane, 5, 0, I go to the right 5, and I put a point at 0. And then 0, 1.6 repeating, so I start at 0 and I go up to 1.6, which is about right there. And then these are 2 points fall within that graph, so I can connect those 2 points. And that represents the graph based on this equation, x plus 3y equals 5. And that's your answer. So there's technically 3 parts to this. You're finding your x-intercept, you're finding your y-intercept, and then you're graphing once you find your x and y-intercepts. That is it for this section.